Just tell me. Do you love me?
Welcome to MsMojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the most intolerable characters in the history of television who were given more importance than they deserved. We do go into detail about why we can't stand these characters, so a spoiler alert is in effect.
You're gonna turn around and you're gonna walk away from me. Aren't you?
Number 30, Jessica Day, New Girl.
And then she does that.
Is it even surprising that the poster child of quirky heroines who are not like other girls is mildly infuriating? Jess from New Girl is an iconic TV character, no doubt, but that doesn't excuse her poor behavior and questionable decisions. At her worst, she's nosy, self-absorbed, insecure, immature, and inconsiderate.
Yes, just as a reminder, I told you seconds after I found out.
Because you're weak, Nick. Weak.
Okay, I agree. Just chill and stop yelling.
Jess, I want to tell you everything. What do you want to know?
I don't know, Cece. How would I know if you're telling the truth?
The word boundaries doesn't belong in her dictionary, and she's not even sorry about it. We're expected to let it pass as a hallmark of her adorable personality. However, it affects her relationships, both romantic and otherwise. Sure, Jess was never meant to be perfect, but she could have been a lot less annoying.
You think you're better than people and you always try to fix them.
No, I don't.
Yes, you do. You've done it your whole life. It's annoying.
You know what? Yes. I would like to fix you. No, I would love to fix you.
Number 29, Scrappy Doo, the Scooby-Doo franchise. Scoob really didn't need a mini foil in the form of a cocky little nephew, but he got one anyway. Scrappy Doo was introduced with hopes that he'd boost the rapidly declining ratings of the franchise. He was created for no other grand reason than to shake things up. So naturally, his personality wasn't as well-rounded as some of the other Scooby characters.
How's it going, Shaggy?
Just hold on, Scrappy. Like, I hope this works.
Oh, tick-tock. Time sure flies when you're having fun.
He ended up being used as a plot device, getting the more important characters into trouble. Sure, his shenanigans created the perfect premise for some episodes, but the brunt of the audience's annoyance at the poor writing fell on Scrappy. We do feel bad for the guy, but as viewers, there were simply not many reasons to love him.
And Scrappy-Dappy-Doo!
Rory Grimes, The Walking Dead.
You want to have a conversation about this before you leave?
So you seriously gonna go after this guy with everything that's going on, huh?
He's right. He's right. This is not the time to head off, not today. You don't always have to.
I'm not arguing.
There's a difference between purposely flawed characters and ones with no direction. Rory Grimes falls in the latter category. She's not presented as a character lacking common sense, yet somehow makes some of the strangest decisions on the show. She's also quite hypocritical and manipulative, particularly with Rick and Shane. She's way too quick to move on to Shane, thinking her husband Rick had passed away. Then, when Rick returns, she convinces him to get rid of her lover before proceeding to condemn him for it.
I think he did it not just to save Carl, but because he loves me.
But you don't know that.
And he thinks that we're supposed to be together.
She takes pride in being a mother, but would probably get Child Protective Services called on her for how careless she is with Carl. Let's not even get into that random car crash. The writers truly did her dirty.
He's growing up in a world where he needs a father like you. Around, alive, not running off solving everybody else's problems.
It's not just his problem I'm trying to solve.
Number 27, Kate Austen, Lost. You know a character's cooked when even the actress playing her is tired of her. Kate starts out as a character with immense scope for growth and development. However, as Lost progresses, she becomes more of an afterthought. The show built significant hype around her past, but hardly touched on how it cast a shadow over her present.
Every time I feel something for him, I see you, Wayne. And it makes me sick.
She had little to no agency of her own, but was needlessly reckless and couldn't stay true to her motivations. Most of her screen time was dedicated to the insufferable love triangle she developed with Jack and Sawyer, until she faded into the background. Actress Evangeline Lilly was so fed up with playing Kate that she once sent her script flying in disappointment. What a waste.
He tried to kill us.
What are you trying to do? Bye, Jack.
Number 26, Debbie Gallagher, Shameless. There's no denying that this character had a hard life. Most of her problematic actions, such as her obsession with Maddie, her behavior towards Seema, and how she manipulated Derek with her pregnancy, can be attributed to this. After all, she was young and didn't know better. However, as she grows into an adult, she lands herself in even hotter waters, taking down others with her.
I'm a good girl.
Yeah, I know. Because your mom has done a very good job teaching you right from wrong. But tomorrow, I need you to be a very bad girl when we go to that mean old witch Peppa's house, okay?
She chooses terrible partners, is morally corrupt, financially irresponsible, a neglectful mom to her daughter Franny, and downright ignorant.
Know anywhere I could get a red-headed toddler for rent?
However, what made her a true representation of the show's title was how indifferent she was to the harm she caused others. Debbie's character is meant to be loathed, so the writers didn't even bother to redeem her.
So I guess I owe you a check.
I guess you do.
Number 25, Arthur Reed, Arthur. This anthropomorphized aardvark was quite a problem child. Sure, his behaviors are supposed to help young viewers discern right from wrong, but he crosses way too many lines for comfort. He was a terrible older brother to DW, resorting to violence against her, and was often seen taunting his friends.
I told you not to touch it!
He's too deceptive and prejudiced to be a role model, even though he does eventually learn his lessons. Obviously, these aren't grave offenses for a prepubescent boy with poor judgment. However, fans can't help but roll their eyes at him because he's perched atop a moral high horse. Perhaps the famous clenched fist meme Arthur birthed best describes how we feel about him. Meta, right?
You can't talk!
DW, that's enough brushing. We have to be at the doctor's in half an hour. And Arthur, be nice.
Yes, Mom.
Number 24, Mike Ross, Suits. Disliking this character is a rite of passage. There comes a time in every Suits fan's life when they realize that the genius fake lawyer they fell in love with was the embodiment of privilege. Don't get us wrong, he's incredibly competent. However, his disregard for everyone he puts at risk in his fraudulent career, especially his clients, makes him impossible to root for.
Is this what you want? Did I hate you? And then you made me do this? We lose everything because of you!
Not only does he wrongfully occupy a job that could have gone to a qualified individual, but he's also self-righteous about it. His photographic memory adds novelty to the show at first, but quickly becomes an overused shtick. Mike's relationship with Rachel isn't the healthiest either. Ultimately, his God complex, mixed with his victim mentality, makes him unbearable.
I'm coming back to work tomorrow. If you can't accept that, then whatever you were gonna say to me won't matter.
Number 23, Jughead Jones, Riverdale.
I'm weird. I'm a weirdo. I don't fit in, and I don't want to fit in. Have you ever seen me without this stupid hat on? That's weird.
When this one says he's a weirdo, believe him. Actor Cole Sprouse, who plays Jughead in Riverdale, admitted to taking the role because he thought the character was utterly pretentious, which in turn made him relatable. From an actor's perspective, that must have been an interesting challenge to take on. However, for audiences, we couldn't help but cringe at his wannabe tendencies.
It's a primal betrayal.
Why do you hate your birthday so much, Jug?
PTSD from when I was a kid.
He tried so hard to look like a deep thinker that he often missed what was right in front of him. His intellect hardly improved his relationships, and he lacked empathy. We all know someone like this in our lives, and we probably don't like them either.
We're not shedding our skins. We're lying low, in the tall grass.
Number 22, Lucas Scott, One Tree Hill. We realize we're in feather-ruffling territory here, but it needs to be said. Basketball wasn't the only thing Lucas Scott was good at playing in One Tree Hill. He made his two love interests, Peyton and Brooke, run through hoops for his love, ruining their friendship. He let popularity get to his head and immediately developed a superiority complex while selling himself as the nice guy.
Part of me feels like ever since we got back together, you've just been waiting to push me away.
Oh,
Great. You kissed Peyton again, and I'm pushing you away.
He was way too controlling over Haley, leaves his fiancée Lindsay for Peyton, and is overall a self-serving serial cheater who isn't nearly as smart as he thinks he is. No wonder he thought hiding his heart condition would be a good idea, without ever considering the feelings of those he was hurting in the process.
I never took the time to explain it all. So what are you gonna do? What happens next? On her back.
Number 21. Joe Goldberg. You.
We can get past this. We can get past anything. I know you do. I can see it in your eyes.
No, just let me go, Joe.
Tell me. You don't love me.
I don't.
Some of the best TV characters are anti-heroes, like Walter White from Breaking Bad or Dexter from the eponymous show. Joe Goldberg doesn't belong in that league. Arguably one of the most toxic men on TV, he manages to have fans wrapped around his finger, despite being a raging red flag. You can blame the actor Penn Badgley and his charisma for that. However, once the Delulu wears off, Joe doesn't have enough redeeming qualities to offset his murderous streak.
You're unusually grateful today.
His crimes may be justified by his own twisted logic, but are senseless to the audience. After a certain point, you end up watching the show out of spite, just to see Joe suffer the consequences of his actions. Thankfully, the finale delivers on that.
My punishment is even worse than I imagined. The loneliness. Oh, my God.
Number 20. Alison DiLaurentis. Pretty Little Liars. There are plenty of flawed characters on this show, yet Allie stands out among the rest.
No one wants you here. You're wrong, Mona. Just like before. Everyone wants to be my friend, and that's what you're afraid of.
The premise is initially centered around her disappearance and alleged death, and during her absence, flashbacks show her manipulative and cruel nature. She was a full-blown jerk in high school. Just look at how badly she treated everyone, from foes Jenna and Mona to supposed besties Hannah, Aria, Emily, and Spencer.
I thought you were my friend. Don't you get it? I'm trying to help you do the right thing.
When she eventually reappears, we hope she'll want a real fresh start, but a lot of the same patterns remain. She often acts high and mighty, and selfless isn't necessarily a word we'd use to describe her. Granted, she grows to some extent, but we'd also say Emily in particular deserved better than the romantic relationship they had.
And trust me, if I'm kissing you, it's because it's practice for the real thing.
Number 19. Bella Malhotra. The Sex Lives of College Girls. Bella starts off as a naive, ambitious girl who's learning and growing through her mistakes. But in season 2, her character development takes a turn as her behavior goes from lovably unsophisticated to frustratingly self-destructive and selfish.
No one wants to work with me. I have a 1.8 GPA. I broke an amazing guy's heart by being selfish.
Throughout the episodes, she joins other women in starting their own comedy publication that she eventually gets booted from because she's not a team player. She also notably cheats on her boyfriend, Eric.
Okay, I know I messed up, but I can explain.
I don't want to hear it. We're done.
What a jerk, right? Yelling at a woman like that?
Her actions and antics are maddening to watch. Indeed, she proves she's learned nothing from her time at the toxic Catullin magazine and navigating her relationships the season prior. We aren't sure what's next for her, but we hope it's better than this.
All I want is for people to like me, but I just keep hurting people instead.
Number 18. Ally McBeal. Ally McBeal. This show's titular character just so happens to be its most annoying.
Even if I get past all my problems, I'm just gonna go out and get new ones. I like being a mess. It's who I am.
As a lawyer in Boston in the mid-90s and early 2000s, Ally has the opportunity to show what it means to be a career woman at the turn of the century. Instead of doing so in a meaningful manner, she comes off as whiny and needy a lot of the time.
Let's have it.
Have what?
Your say. Let's have it.
I don't have one.
What?
I don't even know what your say was about, so how can I have a response? But you didn't know that I didn't have a response when you stormed out.
Though it's possible they were trying to make her relatable, her less than rational decisions in life and love make it hard to take her side. Plus, presumably for the sake of humor, she gives off an unprofessional vibe and appears unsteady, which is not a good look, especially in retrospect.
It's not that I object to sadness, it's just whenever I get depressed, I raise my hemlines. If things don't change, I'm bound to be arrested.
Number 17, Tori Vega, Victorious.
Really? You can't think of one thing that you like about me?
I like when you're sad.
When you're surrounded by such an awesome cast, sometimes your flaws stand out a bit more. Tori might be the main character in Victorious, but she's far from the most talented, and even farther from the most likable. One of the first things she does is kiss Beck right in front of his girlfriend Jade. True, Jade is billed as a mean girl, but this revenge plot takes things a bit too far.
As if I care what you think. You better watch yourself. Can't take it? Don't push me. Eat your pants.
But more than that, if we're talking talent, the characters surrounding Tori outshine her. She's definitely a good singer, but when you're standing next to the likes of Ariana Grande, it's a bit hard to compete.
Looking so hot down in Hollywood. You know that God got the goods, so let's give it up.
Number 16, Zoe Brooks, Zoe 101.
Hey, good luck in the game. I hope you win, but I can't root for you.
Even though her name is in the title of the show, we'd say she shouldn't necessarily have been the star. Most of Zoe's friends are far more interesting, have more depth, and roll their eyes about 1,000 times less often than her.
Do you A, get a new best friend, B, push her down a flight of stairs, or C...
It doesn't say that.
While Zoe starts out as a sweet kid finding her way in a new school, she becomes increasingly bratty and annoyingly good at practically everything. Everyone seems to be obsessed with her despite her pretty standard personality, and she kind of seems emotionless throughout big moments. Zoe 101's initial run ended up only lasting 4 seasons, but that's probably for the best.
I don't know. There's just something in the way.
Number 15, Ross Geller, Friends. As much as this legendary character is beloved, he's also deeply flawed, which is where most of the comedy comes from. For someone whose core personality trait is his smarts, he certainly lacks emotional intelligence.
I haven't had sex in a very long time.
He's constantly patronizing others, refuses to take accountability for his objectionable choices, has a brittle ego, and treats women poorly. From breaking up with Bonnie because of her hair or the lack thereof, to hitting on his cousin and cheating on Rachel, Ross is a hot mess.
We were on a break!
His insecurity about Rachel translates into extreme possessiveness, and he constantly undermines and interferes in her career. We could go on, but you get the point. A character like Ross wouldn't earn too many laughs from a modern audience.
Come on, Rach, you don't have, what, 10 minutes?
I don't have 10 minutes.
What, Sophie, does she have 10 minutes?
Hey, Ross, I told you I don't.
Don't yell at me, okay? This is the most I've seen you all week.
Number 14, Elena Gilbert, The Vampire Diaries. Elena has some moments of heroic selflessness, but they're few and far between. After she becomes a vampire at the end of season 3, she grows increasingly self-centered.
This is the truth, Stefan. I don't want to live here anymore. I don't want these sketches. I don't want this Xbox.
We know she goes through a lot, but she often ends up coping in the worst possible ways, and it gets frustrating. What's more, everyone else's actions seem to magically be justified, no matter how horrible they are, as long as they result in saving Elena's life. Her turbulent love triangle with the Salvatore brothers isn't the most likable thing in the world either.
Does Elena enjoy having both of you worship at her altar?
To be fair, they're to blame for that too. Still, Elena exiting after season 6 and only briefly returning gave everyone a much-needed break.
Things are gonna be awfully dull around here without you.
No, they're not, Damon, because you're not gonna sit around waiting for me.
Number 13, Otis Milbour, Sex Education.
Why are you so angry?
Because we've been friends since we were 9 years old and you've abandoned me for someone that you've known for 5 seconds.
It seems to be a common theme that a lot of the worst main characters start off on the right foot, but go downhill as the series goes on. Otis Milbour is no exception. He's insensitive towards other people's feelings, and his treatment of Ola and Maeve leaves a bad taste in our mouths as well, especially when he lashes out at both of them while intoxicated.
I think
It's good that I'm not going out with either of them, because I think I deserve a whole lot more. Thank you for coming. Good night.
One of the worst examples of his disregard for other people is when he abandons Eric, who's meant to be his best friend, on his birthday, leaving him to get hurt.
It is okay to admit we're lost.
Number 12, Jenna Hamilton. Awkward.
Karma had been a bitch, and so had I, which meant there was no room for a pity committee. I deserved the bum rap and the pain that came along with it.
While other characters on this series tend to grow and improve as time goes on, Jenna becomes more and more unlikable. She lacks emotion, is narcissistic, and behaves in a selfish manner while playing with the emotions of the boys who are into her and creating her own cacophony of problems.
There was no way I was the butt of everyone's joke. No one cared what happened with me and Maddie.
She cheats on Maddie and repeatedly hurts him and Jake. To make matters worse, the third season sees her falling in with the wrong crowd and becoming insufferable. So it's hard to believe or root for her when her friends welcome her back with open arms, and she and Maddie wind up together.
Is it real, or are you just trying to get laid in this closet again?
Couldn't be more real.
Number 11, Serena Vanderwoodson, Gossip Girl. While Gossip Girl is the true villain of the show, Serena Vanderwoodson is arguably an anti-hero.
Glamorous, sexy, beautiful.
Selfish, insensitive, shallow?
Her entitled behavior lingers over all of her questionable actions. Who could forget her sleeping with Nate while he was with her best friend Blair? Or in the end, when she wants everyone to forgive Dan for being Gossip Girl and marries him despite everything he's done. Blair often feels like Serena steals attention everywhere she goes, despite not deserving it. And we get it. As a main character, she's often messy and hard to watch, as she constantly paves the way for her own downfall and rarely thinks about anyone but herself.
Why would I try to steal something from you that I pushed you to do?
Because you take everything from me! Nate, my mom,
Blair!
You can't even help it!
It's who you are. I just thought maybe this time it would be different. I should have known I'd be wrong.
Number 10, Sabrina Spellman, Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. Sabrina Spellman is a part witch with a lot of potential to grow as a character, but she falls flat in the end as her development winds up taking a step back.
What now?
Well, you've been charged with a rather antiquated offence, dearest. A breach of promise.
She's flawed and makes mistakes, and that's fine. But she rarely grows by facing the consequences of her actions, like when she resurrects Tommy. The plan is ultimately a failure because she thinks the rules don't apply to her.
There are two limbos, Sabrina, one for witches, one for mortals. Tommy Kinkle is in mortal limbo, and it is simply impossible for witches to cross over into mortal limbo.
But I'm not a witch. I am a half-witch, which means I can cross over.
You're assuming?
She's also naive, which causes her to do things impulsively when she should be slowing down and looking at the big picture. Unfortunately, the show ends without us ever seeing her get a meaningful redemption arc.
Once more into the fray. Right, guys?
Number 9, Emily Cooper, Emily in Paris. Emily embodies every stereotype associated with Americans in Europe, living in France and initially making little effort to embrace the language or culture.
It's a problem.
Well, I'm going to take a class, but je parle un peu français already.
Well, perhaps it's better not to try.
Sure, that stuff gets better as the series progresses, but it's still cringy. She's also irritatingly successful in marketing where she lands big clients and is given lots of obligations, but is also somehow able to jaunt around Paris as much as she wants.
Get back to America. No, I think we're done here for now, all right? But my DMs are open and I will see you there. Mwah. Merci!
While she could have been portrayed as naive and bright-eyed while navigating a new country, everything works out just a little too easily for her, and it can be super annoying to watch. Also, she did sleep with her friend's ex. Sorry, Em, we don't forget.
Oh my God, this been going on?
It's not going on. It was nothing.
Number 8, Zack Morris, Saved by the Bell.
Please, call me Principal Zack. Look at all your grades seem to be here, but your files don't say anything about, boyfriends.
Don't be fooled by that cute smile and those charming fourth wall breaks. As far as we're concerned, Zack Morris is a little bit of a narcissist and a whole lot of a creep. Throughout the series, his favorite pastimes include being gross to women and being a pretty bad friend. In order to feed Lisa's shopping obsession, for instance, he starts charging people $1 to kiss her.
I feel so cheap. Lisa, you're not cheap. Made $36.
And once in college, he impersonates a professor in order to get a date. But some of Zack's worst offenses come with how he repeatedly mistreats Slater, notably perpetuating the idea that he's violent. And if we're being honest, we're Team Slater.
I just came by to wish you guys a great senior year. But I think I'll find someplace else to sit.
Number 7, Rory Gilmore, Gilmore Girls.
Look, I'm not going back. I just wanted you to know.
Message sent.
Watching a beloved character become a terrible one is never easy. But in Rory Gilmore's case, it was almost unbearable. Rory starts out as your typical precocious teenager. She's charming, smart, funny, and everything else you want out of a main character. But once she gets to Yale, things take a terrible turn. She starts making one mistake after another. She sleeps with Dean even though he's married, drops out of school, and lets her relationship with her mother Lorelai deteriorate.
Be sure to send me a change of address card. Grandma can print them out for you with a little fleur-de-lis.
I'm not supposed to be talking to outsiders.
Fine.
You and Luke getting engaged and not telling me about it, you hurt me.
Back at you.
But the worst part of it all is that for the longest time, Rory doesn't seem to think there's anything wrong with this behavior. She winds up seeming like a far cry from the girl we once knew.
Exactly. I mean, where do you get off acting all morally superior?
That is not what I intended to say at all.
You clearly think you are. Why? Because you read Ironweed? Because you saw Norma Ray?
Number 6, Piper Chapman, Orange is the New Black.
These are kind of like Tom's.
Who's Tom?
Tom's are shoes. When you buy a pair, the company gives another to a child in need. They're great, and they come in lots of different colors.
Unlike Rory, this character was annoying from the jump. Piper Chapman's whiny nature worked for Orange is the New Black at first. She's an upper-class white woman headed for prison, so she's bound to be a bit snobby. But as the show goes on, we learn so much about the other women and their stories, and Piper only becomes more insufferable.
The truth catches up with you in here, Dina. And it's the truth that's gonna make you her bitch.
Next to all the other inmates at Litchfield Penitentiary, she's so clearly the worst, it's hard to understand why she was picked as the main character in the first place. We would all definitely rather spend more time with the characters surrounding her than hearing about her panty-selling venture.
You are supporting a local business, giving jobs right here at home. I'm like American Apparel.
Number 5, Carrie Bradshaw, Sex and the City.
Okay. Yeah. Maybe I've dated men who were wrong for me, but who hasn't?
But the thing they have in common is you.
What's your point?
For someone with a column about sex and relationships, Carrie Bradshaw sure seems to be bad at them. But her romantic entanglements were far from her worst transgressions on Sex and the City. For one, she's a pretty deplorable friend. In one episode, Miranda asks Carrie to come help her after she hurts her neck.
Miranda's neck is out. She can't move, and I'm worried that it's too late for me to cancel my meeting.
I'll go check on Miranda for you.
You would?
She delegates the task to Aiden instead of going over herself, and he finds Miranda in a pretty humiliating situation in the bathroom. And speaking of Aiden, we'd be remiss not to mention how terribly she treated him too. Leave it to Carrie to drive away the only good guy she ever had.
If you don't want to marry me right now, you'll never want to marry me.
That's not true.
I think it is.
Number 4, Ted Mosby, How I Met Your Mother.
I think I like your nose. I think I'm in love with you.
What? What?
What? There's nothing worse than the TV nice guy who's actually the opposite of nice. We'll get to a worse offender later, but for now, give it up for Ted Mosby. The show frames his over-the-top and obsessive nature as romantic, but in hindsight, it's kind of just plain toxic. For example, Robin and Ted might be one of the main couples on the show, yet he always tries to move way too fast and aggressively, getting swept up in his fantasy of them being meant to be. So he often neglects to consider her needs and wants.
Look, Ted, I don't know where I'm gonna be in 5 years. And I don't want to know. I want my life to be an adventure.
We have an expiration date, don't we?
Yet this type of problematic behavior continues even when she says she wants to be friends, and long after they break up. We are truly appalled.
I know it took guts to tell me you love me, and I know how much it hurt that I didn't say it back, but damn it, this sucks for me too.
Number 3, Hannah Horvath, Girls.
I don't want to freak you out, but I think that I may be the voice of my generation.
When someone like Marnie is a character on your show, it's hard to imagine that things could get much more annoying. Enter Hannah Horvath, proving that you should never speak too soon. The main character on Girls is one of the more selfish ones on this list, putting her own not-so-awful problems above everything else. Her behavior impacts her friendships, her romantic relationships, and even her work life.
And I'm not showing any signs of changing. Look, all you've ever done is talk about the fact that you are changing, that you want to change, self-improvement, all that bullshit, so I get on board with it, and thus, all you've done for the past couple of years is disappoint me. Well, then maybe you should lower your expectations.
On the occasions where Shoshana called Hannah on her self-obsession, it felt like she was speaking for the entire audience. Her words are harsh, but oh so true and necessary.
I have come to realize how exhausting and narcissistic and ultimately boring this whole dynamic is. And I finally feel brave enough to create some distance for myself.
Number 2, Dawson Leary, Dawsons Creek.
Why torture yourself?
I'm an artist. Torture is a prerequisite. Are you coming or not?
Think it through, Dawson. I mean, this little movie plot you've got going may not end the way you want it to.
I'm the one who should be kissing her, Joey, not some J. Crew ad.
Here's the nice guy to end all nice guys. Dawson Leary was sold to us as a boy next door type and billed as the love interest to Joey Potter. But from the moment Dawsons Creek began, every single word that came out of the title character's mouth made him less and less likable. For one thing, he's a bad friend and boyfriend to Joey. Beyond that, he's downright terrible to Pacey, often using their so-called friendship so he can feel better about himself.
And you're not dissecting you two's relationship on the page, just like every other narcissistic writer through history.
Just tell me what you think.
I think it's dark. It's obtuse.
It's no wonder the writers eventually ended up having Pacey and Joey be the main couple. And it's really no wonder the only remnants left of Dawson on the internet are crying memes.
All right, just go. Go.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1, Rachel Berry, Glee.
I just don't get it. You're better than this.
No, she's an ambitious little freak who'll do anything to hold on to her power.
If characters got gold stars for being the absolute worst, Rachel Berry would have a binder full of them. The Glee Club is known for being made up of misfits, but we think the reasons Rachel has trouble fitting in have more to do with her mean girl streak than anything else. She's convinced that she's destined for stardom and thinks that gives her the right to belittle others.
My talents are wasted in this club. My star shines too bright, and I think you're threatened by it.
Take that off! I'm tired of this, Rachel. You have a terrible attitude, you're a lousy sport, and it is not okay anymore.
She's not afraid to sabotage anybody who seems like a threat to her either. We all remember what she does to Sunshine in season 2.
Tell me this isn't true, Rachel.
She could have died.
Oh, I didn't send her to an active crack house. Besides, how did you guys find out anyways?
And that's saying nothing of her cringeworthy behavior. Inappropriate crush on Mr. Schuster, anyone? Rachel spent the majority of her run on Glee being awful, and we could not miss her less.
I think that you actually found a way to offend every special interest group in this country. And I don't want to point fingers, but I have to, at you, because you're the face of it, okay? I don't know what I'm gonna do.
Do you sympathize with any of these characters? Let us know in the comments.
But the way you owned up to everything, it just showed me how much you've grown, you know?
I suppose.